Hello, 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 everybody. With us today is one of the most brilliant, innovative leaders in corporate America. Some of you know her, some of you may not, but let me tell you about her. She is known for shattering glass ceilings, breaking down barriers, and also building bridges as well. She was the first black woman to manage a plant for General Motors, eventually rising, exactly, yes. Eventually rising to executive vice president for global manufacturing at GM, and then she got an offer she couldn't refuse. Amazon came calling. She went there, becoming senior vice president of global customer fulfillment, overseeing a workforce of 800,000 people. Today, she is the CEO of Alto Pharmacy, an online business that generates $1 billion in revenue. Amazing.
Thank you.
So I've admired you from afar for a long time, but my first question is simply this. The best part about this woman is that she's from Detroit, Michigan.
Thank you.
So how does a young woman from Detroit become the CEO of a $1 billion business? What was your roadmap to success?
Well, first off, thank you for the opportunity to be here. Thanks, Suzanne, for inviting me here, and thanks to the Chamber. I'd have to say that growing up, my parents really told us that we could be anything and that we can do anything. And they just stressed the importance of education, the importance of hard work, and just being good people. And I think that really made a difference. And so growing up, even though I didn't know any engineers, it was not something that I didn't think I couldn't do, right? And so I think that was really important. And then I just say hard work pays off. Pursuing excellence, people used to say excellence isn't easy. I had a mentor that told me that, and I'd say that it's not, but it's necessary. And then I say just pursue your dreams. Don't be afraid to take risks. Don't be afraid to try something new, I'd say has been really key. And then having great mentors and sponsors. I have to say that because none of us get to where we are without help and support, and I think those have made a difference for me.
You know, when I look at your success and I look at Suzanne Shank and Carla Walker Miller, there's a common thread. The common denominator is engineering. Now, my father told me that when you grow up, you can do anything. It's not true. Some of the worst advice I ever got. The truth is perhaps that in this world, during this time, apparently, science, technology, engineering, math appear to be the keys to the kingdom.
Yeah, I think so. So for me, I didn't know much about engineering. I was telling you that I used to love to take things apart at home. And we grew up, we didn't have a lot. So when something broke, the way I kind of added value was trying to fix it. So I would take things apart, put it back together, cut the electrical cord off, replace it, do rewiring, whatever. And then I loved math and science. And I had a counselor who told me in middle school, he's like, oh, Alicia, you're really good at math and science. You should be an engineer. So I would walk around saying, oh, I'm going to be an engineer. I had no idea. What that actually meant, but I liked the way that it sounded. And then the summer before my senior year in high school, I had a guidance counselor that said, hey, GMI, which is now Kettering University, they have a summer program for academically interested minorities. And you can go and learn about engineering. But you have to go to class, and it was in the summer, and it was 6 weeks, I believe. And I said, I have to spend my summer on a college campus. Yes, you're going to take college classes. So I thought about it, and it's like, why not? And so I joined that program, and I always say that General Motors really got me started on my path to engineering because I took organic chemistry class. I took a calculus class. I took physics. I took all of these college-level courses. And I remember my dad called and he said, well, what do you think about it? I was like, I'm not doing this. Like, I am not going to be an engineer. This is crazy. But when I was applying for college, I found myself checking the box for engineering. And it was the best decision I ever made. I went to Northwestern University.
Not the University of Michigan?
No, it was too close to home.
Okay.
But I went to Northwestern. I do love University of Michigan, but I went to Northwestern. And I ended up studying in chemical engineering, and that was great. And the reason I chose chemical engineering, because at that time, I was told, oh, you can do sales, you can do research, you can actually do design. There were so many things, and I loved the diversity of the degree. and it's paid off. So I do a lot of mentoring, and I do a lot of some programs for middle school students with robotics, just to say, at least have an openness to science, technology, engineering, math, because there's lots of opportunities in those fields. So you can't go wrong.
You have twice been named one of the most powerful women in business by Fortune magazine. And yet I know there must have been times that despite your education and experience, there were people that did not want you in the room. I'm sure that, especially when you went to Texas to handle a plant down there, it was problematic. How do you handle that?
You know, I never worry about it. I don't think about it. I never worry about it. I just try and go in and do the best that I can. And I also just believe in relationships. Like, relationships are important, collaborating, finding solutions. I know Valerie Jarrett was just here, and she talked about that she believes that she can find common ground. There's got to be something common that you have with people, one thing. And so you mentioned Texas, and I can remember getting ready to go to Texas, and I had a mentor, and she said, Alicia, when you get down there, just try not to do anything the first week. Just listen, kill them with kindness. And I remember saying, I don't think that's gonna work. Like, I don't think kindness is gonna work. And actually, kindness does work. And kindness is really, it's not about being soft or being a pushover, but it's around having empathy, I think, for people, listening, being approachable, learning, being curious, and not assuming that you have all the answers. And so, for sure, when I got to Arlington, Texas, there were people that weren't happy that I was there, but there were more people who welcomed me, and that we found a way to solve problems together, to make the plant great, to build great products for our customers. And I learned through my career at General Motors, working with the union and finding solutions, and that I truly believe that we win together and we lose together, and just anchoring on that and not getting caught up in what other people think. Just be true to yourself, show up, get the job done, be competent, do the work, and I think it works out. It works. It doesn't mean it's not easy, because it is hard, but I don't focus on the negative things, and I don't focus on what people may think I'm capable of. I focus on what I know I can do, and then putting the work in to do it.
Imagine working with people who don't like you, and yet still finding a way to solve problems for the mutual benefit of everyone.
Yeah.
Novel concept, wouldn't you say? Maybe you should run for office, I don't know.
I don't think so.
I think it would work. But you do realize how rare you are. I don't know if you think about it every day, but when you look at the Fortune 500 companies across this country, there may be 8 black CEOs, even fewer women. Heavy is the crown. Do you even think about that? Do you ever consider that when you walk into a situation, into a room?
No, I just say, girl, you're here at this table, you better show up. Like, you're here, you're at this table, you're here for a reason. You can't worry about that. I don't, but I do think about doing a good job so others can have an opportunity. I do think about creating opportunities for others. I do think about providing support, like I've been provided support. I do think about that as having a responsibility for doing that. And I don't know, I feel like at this point in my career, that's what I'm really here to do, is to have an impact and help others achieve their goals and be a role model. Because I do think when other people, especially little black and brown girls, when they see you doing this, they can believe that they can do it. And I want them to believe that. And I want everyone, really, quite frankly, to have an opportunity and not be limited to what they can do based on where they come from or what someone else believes they can do. I grew up in Romulus. I was born in Detroit. I grew up in Romulus. I graduated from Romulus High School. My mom and dad, my mom was 16 when they got married, and she was 22 when they were divorced, and she had 4 kids. And so I watched, my mom work, and I watched her struggle. I watched, I know what it's like to not have everything you want, but to have everything you need. So I had a lot of family, a community that supported us, that told my mom if we did something wrong. So we knew, even though my mom was working, we were home alone, we knew not to get in trouble, because everyone was going to tell, and we did not want to get in trouble with my mom or our neighbors. And so I just think that that belief that you can do anything, that community support, I think it's really needed, and I think it's needed more today than ever. So we have two sons, and they get angry with me sometimes. They're 18, they're 21, and they're like, Mom, what? And I'm like, I'm old school. Like, I believe in old school values. I believe in old school principles. It worked for me. I think it's gonna work for you, even in this digital world that we live in. And I think we just have to get back more to that and being a good example of what's possible.
I assume
for
both of your
children.
sons are also in engineering or tech.
Well, yeah, so I have our oldest son is going into his senior year at Howard University, majoring in computer science. And then our youngest son is completing his freshman year at Stanford University, and he's declaring his major, and it will have some type of science, technology, engineering, math in it. I guarantee it. Yeah.
So if you don't have your degree in engineering yet, you still have time.
Or science, or technology.
But you know, Michigan, as we all know, still has a huge problem in attracting and retaining talent. What would you do? What would you advise the people in this room to do to reverse that trend?
You know, I would say that you still have to have the fundamental things. You have to have jobs. Like, you have to have jobs. You have to have diversity of jobs. There has to be growth opportunities for young people coming into the city. Of course, you need housing and all that stuff. But I really think having a great city like Detroit attracts people. The arts, you know, the food, the music, the community. I mean, young people want to be part of a place that's happening, that's fun to be in, right? And so I think there's a lot of great things that are happening in the state, but I think there needs to be more, investment around jobs, whether it's technology. I think I heard Mayor Gretchen talking about the chips and the number of manufacturing jobs that have been added. I think those are extremely important. And I think there's other jobs that we need to think about from a technology perspective, because that will attract people. People have to pay, they have to live. And the young people today want to have a way to live a great lifestyle. So you have to have jobs that they're attracted to, and then you have to have an environment that they want to be part of. And I think Detroit has a great story. I meet people and I tell them they're from Detroit, and they're like, oh my, Detroit is doing amazing things. I was downtown last weekend for a wedding, and the reception was at the Shinola Hotel. It was amazing. The city was bustling. There were people out there, and I was up on the rooftop, and I looked out and I saw that Gucci store. I was like, what? There's a Gucci store? And I told my husband, I said, before we leave here next week, I'm going to Gucci and I'm going to give them some money because I want the store to be successful. And so I think those things are really, really important, but I think there's a lot of progress that's been made. And I just think there's absolutely more we can do.
When I look at your background and I look at young people today, there was a track when I was in school that either made you go to college or allowed you to go to college or go into vocational training.
Yeah.
There were requirements that demanded a college degree. But today, is that still true? And isn't even engineering school a kind of vocational training?
Yeah.
You know, we tend to look down, I think, upon some trades as being less than, but no, they're not. The bottom line is that we have to make a living, make money.
Yeah. So college is not for everyone, right? I love to believe that college is good for most people. But I will tell you, there are people who have skills or that can be trained. And so apprenticeship programs, I think, are extremely important. And I can remember, so I'm aging myself, but I can remember being in high school, and there were vocational type classes that you could take along with college prep classes. And so there were woodworking, machining classes, culinary arts classes. Like, there's classes that I think people should be able to take even in high school because it exposes them to other fields. Electricians, we need carpenters. AI is not going to take those jobs. and they're needed. And so I do think we should be exposing students to these type of opportunities in high school, and then providing the training and the program so that they can do that if college is not the right path for them. And they're all, you know, they're great jobs. They're good careers. And so I think we should do more of that. And I'm happy to hear that there is a focus here in the state of Michigan on apprenticeship programs. And I just think we should do a lot more. We've got a lot of young people that are going to graduate, and they're all not going to go and study engineering. I'd like for a lot of them to, but the reality is they may not. They may not be interested in it, but there should still be an opportunity for them to participate in this society and have a respectable job that they can raise and support their families on. And I think that's just expected.
You mentioned AI, artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
There are some to say that it is the greatest thing. It will make our lives easier, give us more leisure time. But there are others who fear it will eliminate millions of jobs. What do you think?
I think it's going to do both. I think it's going to be used to help solve a lot of our most challenging problems. I think it's going to be democratized in a way where our children and their children will be using AI as part of their daily lives. But I do think that because of the way, especially if you look at generative AI and these large language models, how they can be used, there's going to be repetitive, tedious type work where it's recalling information that it's not going to require humans to do. But there's going to have to be humans that are going to have to build these models. They're going to have to train these models. They're going to have to refine these models. So I think it's both. It's going to make our life easier, but I do think there's got to be, I think we should be cautious, as far as how we're exploring it or how we're deploying it. We're using AI at Alto Pharmacy. We've been using AI, if you think about machine learning, for a long time, and we're exploring right now with large language models. But I think there's probably not going to be a field that's not going to be impacted in some way by AI.
Could you tell us more about Alto Pharmacy? How
Yes.
does that differ from the pharmacy down the street or even a pharmacy that's currently online?
Yeah, so Alto Pharmacy, we're a tech-enabled pharmacy. And so we use technology as a way of improving access, adherence, providing a high level of care, cost, and convenience for our patients. And so we have a patient-facing app, and we onboard, so our customers onboard onto that app. We do all of the processing of the prescription. We can go out and find coupons that are available to give our patients the lowest cost. And then you can schedule your prescription to be delivered. We have couriers that can deliver to your home same day, next day, and then we also do some mail. So that's kind of our direct-to-consumer. So we're a full retail pharmacy. So the same medications that you can get at Walgreens or CVS, you can get through Alto Pharmacy. And then we have another part of our business where we partner with enterprise partners. And so if you think about telehealth companies, if you think about pharmaceutical companies, if you think about payers or insurers, because we have a technology platform, we're able to partner with them in order to lower their costs to serve. And so we're able to onboard, we're able to do prior authorizations. If there's a new drug that's launching, we can help get new patients and then also get the medications to patients. So we're like a pharmacy and a hub. We call it hub services in one, and we're doing it all from our technology. The other great thing I want to say about Alto is at our core are our pharmacists. And so we've built a lot of technology that takes the administrative burden away from pharmacists, where they can operate at the top of their license and where they can provide a high level of care for our patients. And so being tech-enabled means that we start all of our solutions thinking about technology and how technology can really transform pharmacy. It's antiquated. Like, pharmacy is like one of the last spaces where we're not fully leveraging technology to the extent that we can to improve outcomes, access for people to get the medication that they need. And so that's what Alto is really all about, leveraging technology to improve lives and improve access and to make your experience much better than standing in line, waiting to see a pharmacist to get your prescription and then not knowing what it's gonna cost until you show up there. That's not right. And so we're really focusing on fixing that.
You're not the only one in this space. Amazon has a model.
Yeah.
Mark Cuban, who was just here last year, also has.
Mark Cuban
Are you
has-
competing with them, or are you?
Well, look, I
collaborating?
think it's a huge space. Pharmacy is a $550 billion industry. There's enough room for a lot of people. I'm actually happy that they're in this space because there's a lot of work to be done. There's still just millions of people that don't have access, that can't afford to get the medication. And so I look at Mark Cuban, quite frankly, as a partner. We have a partnership with Mark Cuban. I think what Mark Cuban is doing in the pharmacy space, bringing transparency and also offering low-cost drugs, that's great. It works for us, and so we actually have a partnership with Mark Cuban, and I'd like to grow that partnership. Amazon, you talked about, I spent 25 years almost at General Motors. Then I went to Amazon. I think Amazon is an amazing company, and I think they'll add a lot of value in the pharmacy space. But I think we're unique because we're not just working on a direct-to-consumer model. We're going upstream. We're working with the pharma companies. We're working with payers. We're working with doctors, making it easy for them to actually manage prescriptions. So we're looking at it more in a holistic way. And so when you say, are they my competitors? They're not doing what we're doing. But there's room. But there's room for all of us, I think, in this space.
Oh, when you mentioned Amazon, you were there during the height of the pandemic.
Yeah.
It must have been terrifying, but at the same time, exhilarating.
You know what? It was just like everyone else. At the time when I joined Amazon, I had been there a year. I had responsibility for global customer fulfillment. So if you think about if you are an Amazon customer, there's lots of people every day right now working on picking and packing your order to make sure that you get it on time. And I had these people that were working in the warehouse, and we had customers who needed items. And so it was scary because information, things were changing. We didn't know everything, and we still had to think about the safety of our people. And so for me, we just led with I would say the whole company led with, we're gonna do the right thing for our employees. We're gonna think about their safety. We're gonna do everything that we know today, and then as new information comes about, we're gonna learn and move as quickly as possible. So it was a fun time. We doubled the size of the company. A company that took 25 years to build, we doubled it in 2 years. And it was it was amazing. Scary, but amazing time. And I felt really proud of the work that we did, proud of our employees as well.
But here we go again. We spoke about this earlier. 25 years at GM, all over the country, Texas, but primarily here in Michigan. But you left.
Yeah.
You left. You went away to Northwestern. You left GM and went out to Seattle. You left. And that is a problem we have here in Michigan for whatever reason. I don't know, it's a lack of opportunity. I don't know what we are not doing so that people with your skills and your talent have to go elsewhere to get an opportunity.
Yeah, so for me, it was less about the opportunity at Michigan and more about the opportunity at General Motors. And so I had an amazing career at General Motors, and I talked about, I started there as an engineer. I ended up raising my hand because I wanted to work in the plant, and I grew my career in manufacturing. I became a plant manager at the Arlington, Texas plant. I was a plant manager at the Orion plant. I was a vehicle chief engineer. I did a lot of things. I had a great career at General Motors. And then I was over all of manufacturing globally, manufacturing engineering, sustainability. I love that. But I don't like to be comfortable. I like to be challenged. I like to continue to grow. And I felt like I was not being challenged. And I felt like the opportunities at GM were there, they just weren't there right now. And I was ready for something right now. And so I met someone at Amazon, and I flew out to Seattle, and it was an amazing opportunity to work for a customer-obsessed company.
It wasn't just the money.
No, it wasn't the money, but the money helped.
Okay.
The money helped make it an easier decision, but it wasn't. Like, I didn't start the conversation thinking about the money. I started the conversation around, this is a great company, that it's a totally different industry. I need to stretch, I need to grow, I need to evolve as a person. Like, I can't just stay comfortable at GM, although it was like leaving family. Like, I love that company. Like, I love General Motors to this day. But Amazon was a great opportunity for me, and I said, why not? And it was just an example of me betting on myself and pushing myself out of my comfort zone when I didn't have to, but I had to for myself. And so it was the best decision I ever made. And so I went to Amazon. It was great. And I not only ran global customer fulfillment, I had all of the technology for all of their operations. I had the large customer service organization. I had sustainability. I had product safety. So I had a lot there that allowed me to grow and to contribute and to make good money.
There's nothing wrong with making money.
Nothing wrong with that.
But here you have, I think, become a global ambassador for business. and you can live anywhere you want to live. You've lived here in Michigan. You've lived in Seattle. I think San Francisco is the base for
Yeah, the
Alto.
company's in San Francisco.
Is there a chance we can get you back here in Michigan?
Well,
what do we have to do?
Actually, we just bought a home in Bloomfield Hills about 6 weeks ago. So you know, coming back, I always wanted to come back to Michigan. I always wanted to come home. You know, my family's here. I have a lot of family here. I love the city. I love the state. And so my husband and I were here visiting, and we saw a house, and we decided to buy it. So I will not be here in the winter, I can tell you that. But I will at least be here in the summers and the fall. And then, you know, technology, you can work from anywhere. Exactly. And I don't mind flying, so I can get to San Francisco when I need to.
Well, your skills and talent have been recognized across the board. You've been members, I think, of the board of General Mills and Beaumont Hospital, Beaumont Health
Yes.
System. Now you're on the board of J.P. Morgan Chase.
Yes.
And in fact, we have to let her go soon because there's a private plane waiting for her to take her to the next board meeting. But I don't know if you can divulge what goes on behind the scenes, but I know that Chase has made a significant investment in Detroit. What are they saying about that?
Yeah, so when I left Amazon, when I joined Amazon, I had to leave the General Mills board because they don't allow any of their leaders to be on the board of public companies. And so when I left Amazon, I knew one of the things I wanted to do was serve. I wanted to be on the board of directors of a company, and I ended up being connected with J.P. Morgan Chase. And one of the reasons, first of all, it's an amazing company. It's a global, you know, financial services company. They do great work, lots of technology. I love tech. Jamie Dimon is an amazing, amazing, amazing leader. But I was also really intrigued by the work and the investments that J.P. Morgan Chase has made in the city of Detroit. And since 2013, I think since that time, J.P. Morgan Chase has invested over $200 million in the city. They've done a lot from a training and upskilling perspective, you know, providing small business loans and home affordability programs, and just partnering, I think, with the city. And so at J.P. Morgan, we're really proud of the work that's been here, and we do talk about, well, what's the next Detroit? Because it's such a great success story, and we know that cities can come back, and it takes, you know, business working with local and state government, and working with the citizens in order to make it a great city. And so really proud of the work that J.P. Morgan Chase has done, and also looking at how that model of what was done here can be replicated in other cities, because there's lots of needs, lots of opportunities out there. So.
What do you tell your children about the future? What do you think is ahead for us?
You know, I tell my children to follow their passion. I tell them that, you know, that they were here, they're sent here for a reason. And it's just not to be consumers, and to, you know, to live a fulfilled life, and to not be afraid to go down a path that hasn't been done before, but also to think about the impact that they have on others, on their communities, on the world, and just don't, you know, if you're going to be here, make a difference. Don't take advantage of the opportunities that you have. And I talk to my sons about that. Like, I grew up with a lot less than they have. But it doesn't change the responsibility, I think, that they have in living a fulfilled life and then having an impact, making a difference, make the world better. Like, that's what I talk to my kids about.
Not money.
No, but you need to be able to take care of yourself, because I'm not taking care of you. So I do tell them that, like, you know, you're going to take care of yourself.
Well,
you're going to find a way.
I want to give you the last message to these people gathered here today. What should they do? How should they leave this gathering? What is the first thing they should do when they walk out of these doors?
No, I just say, you're here, you're making an investment, you're spending time, learn something. Be curious, learn something, take it away. And if it's just one thing that you want to take away that's going to help you on the path that you're doing, or maybe unlock something that you may have been blocked, build a relationship, find someone, talk to someone that you don't know. I think one of the amazing things, I was telling you, that I came over on a shuttle and on a ferry with Valerie Jarrett and a couple other people. And we were in the lobby. And I didn't know her. We just started talking, and she said, "You want to go to dinner?" When I woke up yesterday, I did not expect that I would be having dinner with Valerie Jarrett. But through that conversation, it sparks an idea, and maybe something will come from that. And so I would just encourage all of you to take advantage of this time and to make the best of it and to use it to help make the state better, make the world a better place.
Well, I know this is not a church, but I've been converted. Alicia Boler Davis, thank you.
Thank you. Yep. Thank you. Yep. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you. You're great, of course. Thank you.
From Delta Faucets to Behr Paint, Masco Corporation is proud to deliver products that enhance the way consumers all over the world experience and enjoy their living spaces. Masco, serving Michigan communities since 1929.
Support also provided by the Cynthia and Edsel Ford Fund for Journalism at Detroit PBS.
DTE Foundation is a proud sponsor of Detroit PBS. Among the state's largest foundations committed to Michigan-focused giving, we support organizations that are doing exceptional work in our state. Learn more at dtefoundation.com.
We help organizations find their voices through what they do and who they impact. We are VVK PR and Creative, a Detroit agency telling the stories of critical issues affecting the big picture and the small moments. Stories at Skyline Heights and on-the-ground influence. We lead with relationships first, solutions always, and with diversity as our compass. VVK PR and Creative.